This is a recap for Friday, November 19th. So we talked about exponents today and added these to our notes. So if you just want to copy down these examples, you can just hit pause right now in the video, and if you missed class, you can just write down these examples, and then I will talk about them in a moment. So go ahead and hit pause. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you wrote down these examples. Let me highlight a few things. So this is the base. In this example, that's a 2, and it's to the third power. So that is how many times we multiply it. So we get this 2 repeated this many times, 3 times. And they're multiplied. So it's multiplied together, 3 copies of it. So we have 2 copies of this 4 right here. We have 2 copies of the 10. We've got 2 copies of the 5. We should probably, and here's 3 copies of the negative 5, excuse me. And so another thing that we talked about in class was to the first power, 7 to the first power is 7, 8 to the first power is 8, 10 to the first power is 10. And then the last thing was right here, you see this negative 10. I'll just redo it down here. Negative 10 squared. I like to call that the opposite of 10 squared. 10 squared is 100. That's 10 times 10. And then the opposite of that goes right here. So that's the opposite of 10 squared. This, however, is negative 10 squared. That's negative 10, excuse me, times negative 10. And that's equal to 100 because a negative times a negative is a positive. Last thing about exponents is that they are kind of created so scientists can talk about very large and very small numbers. So if we had 10 to the 150, that would literally have 150 zeros. So just a little bit about the purpose of exponents. And then I'm going to go to Desmos because after this, we did take a quiz, Plicker's quiz. So actually, maybe we'll just go to that. All right, Plicker's. And I'll just pull my pin that works on the top, and I'll just do the 10 problems that we did. Let's do it this way. If I edit, I should be able to see them all. All right. So 5 minus a negative 8 is, I see it as a negative 5 plus the opposite of negative 8, which is 8. These have different signs. We find the difference. There's more positive, so that is 3. So there we got 3. Six minus a negative 14 is the same as 6 plus the opposite of this. The opposite of that is 14. That's 20. Negative 25 minus 5 is the same as negative 25 plus the opposite of this right here is negative 5. That's negative plus negative is even more negative, negative 30. $45 minus 15 is 30. And this one is negative 2/5 subtract negative 2/5. So anytime we subtract the same exact amount, it would be the same as 5 minus 5 or 2 minus 2. It's equal to 0. Okay, that was one of the quizzes that we took. Here's the second quiz that we took. So 3 minus a negative 1, 3 minus a negative 1 is equal to 4. That's the numerator. The denominator stays the same. So that's 4/4, that's equal to 1. $25. We start with this amount, 25, and from it we take a negative 25. We don't have 25 negatives, but we can see it as an addition of the opposite of this. The opposite of negative 25 is 25, and that equals 50. Negative 8 plus the opposite of this. The opposite of negative, excuse me, the opposite of 10 is negative 10. This is negative plus negative is even more negative. Negative 12 plus the opposite of this is 5. These have different signs, so we're going to find the difference, which is 7. There's more negative, so it's negative 7. $36 minus 40 is the same as 36 plus the opposite of this, which is negative 40. They have different signs, so we find the difference. There's more negative, so it's negative 4. Okay, the last thing we did in class today is we worked on Desmos. And so I'm going to go to the first one and do an answer key. So here's the answer key to the first one. It was order of operations basic. And this is equal to 100. This is equal to negative 100 because we do 10 squared and then the opposite of it. This is negative 10 times negative 10, which is 100. These are different signs, negative and positive, so we find the difference, which is 6. There's more negative. These are both negative, so we combine them together for negative 10. And these have different signs, so we find the difference, which is 6. And there's more positive, so that is positive 6. The first thing I'm going to do is write there, 6 minus 3. I'm going to write everything else out. 50 minus 5 divided by 3 squared plus negative 5. The next thing I'm going to do is 50 minus 5, or excuse me, I can do two things in one step. I can do 3 squared, that's 9. I can do 50 minus 5, that's 45, but I have to write that down so I don't lose this division sign. Plus a negative 5. 45 divided by 9 is 5. 5 plus a negative 5 is equal to 0. The first thing I'm going to do is right here, and then I'm going to write everything else out. So this is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. So that's 4, negative 8, 16. Notice how it goes from negative to positive to negative, back and forth. So we're going to write 6 minus 3 times negative 4 plus 16. Next, I'm going to do just that right there. 3 times negative 4. 6 minus 3 times negative 4 is negative 12 plus 16. Now I'm just going left to right. 6 plus a negative 12 is 18 plus 16. So this one was 34. to add parentheses and grouping symbols in order to, add parentheses and grouping symbols to each order of operation problem to make the equation true. If we put a parenthesis or a bracket right here and right here, then we do 4 times, and then we're going to do 3 plus 7 minus 6 plus 4. Then we're going to do 4 times 3 plus 7 is 10 minus 6 plus 4. And then 4 times 4 plus 4. That's 16 plus 4, and that's equal to 20. And the mistake that was made was right there, 20 minus 4 and 16, because they dropped these parentheses. So it should have been 5 times 4 minus parentheses 4 plus 3. We do the parentheses first, so that'd be 5 times 4 minus 7, and that's 20 minus 7, so that should have been 13. And that is a recap for Friday, November 19th.